Welcome to Hope Shot Recovery. I'm Sonia. I'm so glad that you can join me today. Today, I have a very special guest on. I have Melissa from Sober Now. She is an author. She is such an inspiration to everybody in her community and all over the place in prisons in the United States. And I'm so excited that we are going to have a great conversation tonight. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so excited. I had a long, full week full of that checklist we all have, check off Monday, Tuesday, and I couldn't wait to get to this moment. I know we're supposed to be present in the day, present in the moment, but I was so looking forward to spending some time with you, connecting and just having some good, authentic conversations with each other. And I just think this is going to be great. Thanks for having
Yes.
me.
Absolutely. I think this is going to be really great too. So we have a good topic that we're going to talk about tonight. But before we get started in the topic, maybe you could just tell them a little bit, just a preview of your backstory, because if you guys want to hear the whole thing, you're going to have to go to the book, which we're going to drop in the description, but just a little preview of your backstory.
Okay, so I am in recovery for drugs and alcohol, long-term recovery. My sobriety date this go around, because I've had several relapses prior to this attempt, is November 21st, 2013. And it's been a long, rigorous journey. And I've done it one day at a time through unity. And I think the difference between my previous attempts and this one, the longevity in this attempt, is that I gained some understanding and knowledge about relapses, particularly in my case, and what my triggers are, and how to find kind of like a check sheet for avoiding the triggers that were causing that. And then also this go around, God is very much at the center of my recovery. And that I can't see anything other than those two things being the biggest factor. So I always like to highlight them and tell people, and of course I've written about that in my books, but both drugs and alcohol played a part in my life for decades. I started, the seed was planted in my for my addiction around 17 in my late teens, and I made all the wrong choices with all the wrong people, and then I just never got back on track. And there was a lot of havoc and things left in the path of destruction with my addiction, and a lot of guilt and a lot of shame. And through recovery, I have been able to find serenity, that promise that we are given through a 12-step program. So I am a 12-stepper. And
Yeah, me too.
yeah, okay. And I know that there are a lot of people out there that have different paths in recovery, and I love that. I say this all the time over at Sober Now on my page. Everybody's welcome. And I just think as long as you are finding something that works for you, and that it's for the greater good, then you can't fail. You can't go wrong. And I always like to mention too, I think we talk, I know you've talked about it. I talk about too, the unity in recovery has been significant for me, especially in this later half. I think within the last 2 or 3 years, I have more unity and strength from unity and connection in my life than I ever have. And I was not expecting that when I first entered into sobriety. I was very lonely, full of shame, full of guilt. I couldn't see the light that I see now. I may have been overwhelmed back then if I was able to feel and see the things that I feel today. Do you know what I mean? You almost have to go through that cocoon process. Was it a metamorphosis? Is that the word?
Yes. Yeah.
You have to go through that in order to handle how beautiful and wonderful sober life is. Even the yucky, gross, messy parts are still amazing and beautiful, but the unity is important. So I love what you do. I really do. And you have a lot of people that lives that you're affecting and impacting in a great way using your own story. And that's what recovery is all about. It's cool. But so that's a little bit of a backstory. I don't, like you said, I don't want to give too much away, but I was up against some hard stuff. I lost a child to the court system, and I dealt with some debt that was straight out after recovery, but I going into this final attempt before my rock bottom, I was in really abusive relationships. I mean, really, you know, getting put into the hospital, some tough stuff. And I, you don't, when you're in those places, you don't know how to, you're full of trauma and you're a victim. You really are. And you don't know how to process it and deal with it. And you're still, you know, you've got responsibilities and you're still having to try and just make it through this world. And the guilt and the shame that keeps you in those places, it's a lie. You know what I mean? It really just keeps you from this beautiful side that I'm talking about. And so I talk about a lot of that in my book too, some of the things that I had to walk through. And it's not and it's not like a tell-all. I mean, they call it a memoir / inspirational book. I don't get into I don't want to focus like so much on the negative that you close the book and you feel like you need a shower, but
right.
Because I can make you feel that way with some of my stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I share enough to qualify that, man, I get you guys. Anybody who's listening or watching this, I've been there. I get it. So I don't want you to think I'm just having this happy-go-lucky talk this evening with Sonia and, you know, everything's great because I'm not drinking anymore. It's tough. It's tough stuff we've been through. And it's tough stuff we're walking through on the recovery side too, but it's possible. One day at a time, it's possible.
That's right. And you know what? I connect with you on so much stuff that you just shared and some of the stuff that I've read in your book as well. We have walked a very similar path in a lot of ways, even though different time periods, different places. I mean, we share a lot of similarities, but something that you kind of talked about that I want to go back on for a minute is your relationship with God. So I'm just wondering, in your previous attempts to recovery, did you have a relationship with God, or was there a moment? Because I believe in my story, right? I believe that God rescued me, you know, and I had known him before, but I wasn't ready to come to him. But then he finally rescued me from the depths. So I'm just wondering if you have like a similar experience to that.
Yeah. So I felt rescued. I feel like, and I write about that. I don't know if you got that far along yet, but it's, I had a vision when I was on the floor of my unfinished basement in my house, trying to take my own life because I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't. I was tired. I was in pain, emotional, physical. I was tired of hurting the people that I loved, and I couldn't figure out how to stop doing that. And they would say, "Why do you keep doing this to me?" That was like the cycle of insanity. I didn't want any part of it. So my idea was I would end it. I'm just going to end it then, you know, and I'm going to save everybody, including myself. And I was on the floor of my unfinished basement trying to take my own life, and I had a vision, and I believe it was a divine intervention. And up until that point, I was very much aware of who God was. I was raised in a home with a Catholic faith, and my parents were devout, and, you know, they offered me all the avenues and resources that you could think that to need as a child growing up. I mean, I even went to Catholic school for a period. I never had a relationship with him. And there's a difference in knowing who God is and knowing God. And so I think that up until that point on the floor of my basement, I had talked to him, I had talked at him. I believe he was always there. It was me who didn't believe fully or understand fully what true love is, unconditional love, a love that could forgive at the amount that he is capable of doing. I couldn't fathom it because I didn't really know what love was, you know. And so you're faking it till you make it through life, then you can't be on a level where you can even go deep enough to understand or build a relationship to fully embrace that. And I think that in order for me to have the ability to do just that, I did have to get to that rock bottom. And it's a shame that I made it that difficult for myself. So I don't believe God, people ask me that, you know, did God do that for you? So I don't believe that God made me end up on the floor of my basement trying to take my own life. That was very much my own free will being used to give me the choices and the circumstances that I had walked through. But I believe that he was with me all along, giving me the opportunity to kind of draw closer and closer and closer to him. And then when it was revealed to me that I had a purpose, and that I was loved and I was allowed to feel divine love shoot through my body, it was a gift. I believe that was like, it is real. Have a taste of it instead of a taste of vodka or cocaine or crack, right? Have a taste of this instead. And then come chase this for a little bit. So that's what I did. I'm an addict. You're not going to take that out of me. So I switched directions. I mean, okay, let me go see what that's about. And it's a new kind of high. And so that is where that window of opportunity opened up. And it was not easy. And I do write about that too. And I'm not, I think I shared a little bit about with this already. It's embarrassing, but like, I work in a church, so you would think like I know scripture and I can quote this and that, and I know right from wrong, and I live life following the 10 commandments. That's not the truth, man. I am the epitome of human.
Yeah.
And even though I try and work a good recovery program, I'm human. And I'm always going like toe to toe with him. I'm like, God, what do you mean by that? Or like, I ain't doing it. Like I'm always going to be. How many kids do you have, Sonia?
2 boys,
Okay.
teenagers.
Are they like, they're not exactly alike, right? They both have their own personality.
No, I thought they
Okay.
were going to come out alike, but it turns out they're not.
Yeah, they don't do that, right? Okay, so I have 4 and they're all different ages from 25 to 11. And
Mhm.
I mentioned to you, I was at my daughter's senior prom tonight. She's very much different than my 11-year-old, who's also different than my 25-year-old. And that is who our Father, God, our Father, is for us. He has all of it just on a higher magnitude, right? Like he's got millions and millions and millions and billions of us. All of his children are different. So he doesn't love me less because I don't know a prayer, or I'm having a hard time and I can't automatically remember Peter 24/7, whatever the number is out of the Bible. He knows that about me. And so he gives me opportunities to draw closer to him and love him the way that feels right for me. As long as we're coming to him and we are keeping that connection. And really, I don't know if you're in agreement with this or not, but there are some times when I feel in a lull in my relationship with God. And the only way that I can get back there to that connection with him is through service work. Yes. And so when I'm doing something and I'm being of service, all of a sudden I start feeling, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it right now. Because I know the Holy Spirit is present through this conversation. This is big stuff you and I are talking about. But when I'm being of service and I'm outside of myself, then I can almost instantly feel the connection with him. So it's like our ego blocks us from that ability to communicate with him. It's a really crazy thing. And the more you practice it, and the more you understand it, and the more comfortable you get in your relationship, the more you start knowing those things. And it just becomes natural,
Yeah.
But I'm not always natural at it. Sometimes I struggle. And that's why the unity is really great. It's conversations like this help us through the times where we're in those lulls, or we just don't get it, or we can't figure it out. And having people pray for us, and we can't pray for ourselves, it's life-changing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love what you just said about being of service. And it reminds me of our purpose, right? And you kind of spoke about that a minute ago. And one of the most life-altering moments that I had is when I realized that everything that I had been through in my life, all of the bad stuff, all of the pain, all of the trauma, that God had a purpose for all of it. And it doesn't mean that that stuff was okay, that it happened, but it's not just wasted. Like it can be used for the good. There's actually a scripture in Romans 8:28. It's my favorite one. Yes. It says all things can work together for the good of those that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. So I love what you said about service work, because people, I think, just naturally are searching for their purpose in life. We want to have something to do. It's the desire within our humanly nature, so our purpose, if you want to know what your purpose is, it's serving. It's serving somebody else. It's about serving the kingdom and growing the kingdom and helping your fellow man, right? Loving God and loving people. That's your purpose. So the best way to get outside, or to get outside of yourself, is to lose yourself in service of others.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be big stuff. I tell people that all the time
Yes.
at Sober Now. I'm like, man, I'm not asking you to go out there and pay off like somebody's mortgage. Go
Mhm.
to when you're leaving and you pull your car out of your driveway and you see somebody's garbage can still sitting there, pull them up. If maybe
Yes.
they were at the in the hospital or tired or sick or I don't know, busy. You
Mhm.
could do it. You're walking into work and you're in the parking lot. Don't step over the straw, somebody's trash sitting in the parking lot. Bend over and pick it up.
Right.
It's got germs on it. When you get inside, wash your hands. That is
Mhm.
service work.
Mhm.
Honestly, it's that simple. Hold the door open. Lend a
Yep.
smile.
Mhm.
The smallest, simplest day-to-day things are being a service to other
That's
people
right.
because you don't know what those small little baby step things that don't seem like a big idea, which really are, can mean to somebody else. You just
Mhm.
don't. And you
Yeah.
don't need to know either. And if you need to know and you need that gratification every time you've done something good, then it's not really service work, is it? It's self-service work.
Right, exactly. We just
So,
plant little seeds. That's all we do. We plant little seeds. We let God grow the harvest and water the soil, and we just plant the seeds.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Spread them all around. And I love what you said about that because I write my book about how the beginning of my spiritual awakening was a year into my recovery. I had gone a whole year kind of like in a clock watching lull, like, oh, I can't wait to go to sleep and get this one more day sober over. I hadn't really had that wake up inside of me. If anybody's had it, you know what I'm talking about. You just
Mhm.
all of a sudden feel alive and you're like, whoa, like I didn't have that pink cloud yet. And so I was just going through the motions, but my dad was dying and I was at his deathbed and I was helping care for him through his hospice care. And I did something for him that showed me that the knowledge I had of what I was doing, it showed me that I could take my past mistakes. What I was doing was helping administer morphine, and I knew where to do it where nobody else in the room could figure it out. And so I relieved pain for him while he was literally transitioning. But if I hadn't been in active addiction and hanging out with my buddies in the trap house, I'm just kidding. If I hadn't been misusing morphine, that's a cleaner way to put it. Um, we I would have known where it would give them the
Mhm.
instant gratification, satisfaction. And so I did, and it dawned on me at that moment, like time stopped all around me. And I realized I can use my past mistakes for doing good for others. And it was like, and that sounds like, okay, duh, like everybody should know that. Okay, you learn from this mistake, now take it and go do some good. But that was like, for me, it was
Mhm.
transformational. It's
Mhm.
like, okay, let's do this. And I mean, I went from there, it hasn't stopped. And I'm not always right about the path. You think you know that you're going the right path. Okay, you get your mojo going, you're like, I'm doing this, I'm going to do it. And it becomes your ego driven motivation rather
Right.
than what God's actually calling you to do. Is very tricky to, you have to be
Mhm.
very alert and in tune to that stuff, which we weren't able to do while we were filled with toxins and substances, right? So,
Yeah.
having that constant contact with God and that through meditation or prayer or quiet
Mhm.
time or, gratitude. Some people just do gratitude lists and that's enough to get them back in touch and
Mhm.
communicate. Those things will help you get back onto whatever path he's like. Really, he'll keep you steering along the way. So
Well,
we don't get sober and we go like, okay, happy live ever after. We get sober and we go, whoa, whoa. At least I did anyway. That's how.
yes, I did too.
I have a
Well,
curvy path at best.
yes. So let me ask you about that for a minute about listening to God and following his way for your life. How do you know when God is speaking to you? How do you know that it's God's voice or, not his voice and Satan's voice? How do you know the difference?
Yeah, and there's a couple different ways that I feel that he and I communicate with each other best. I recognize him the most through people.
Mhm.
And I think he does that on purpose with me because it makes me want to stay connected with people because I don't ever not want to hear from him. And I am an isolator.
Mhm.
And even though I'm in recovery and I have different things that I continuously work on, and I go to counseling, and I have I have my whole self-love remedy of things that I do. I still have the tendency to get overwhelmed, want to isolate, want to shut down, procrastinate, all these things. Um, and so if I know and recognize that I can hear from him and have direction from him through other people, then I'm almost forced to stay connected and not go into those dark places. So it's like a gift, but like a, okay, fine gift. Okay, fine. I'll get on the podcast and Zoom and have a deep, dark conversation about whatever, because I know that I'm gonna feel the presence of God through it, and that I'm going
Mhm.
to connect with people and hear a message or be led in the place that I'm supposed to.
Mhm.
So I would
Yeah.
say that's the first thing. But there are
Mhm.
times when I am in my moments by myself where I am able to just really be in a prayerful state, and I can hear something, and I didn't used to like to talk about it because I have a reputation for being a little crazy, especially when I was getting high and
What do you
drinking.
know?
Okay. Like, so if I go tell them, please, I heard God, like there's two
Right.
things that come with that. First is maybe the message that I'm hearing from him is intended for me to hear
Mhm.
and then go act on, not to go and boast that I've had this conversation. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's private and intimate. And so I have to decipher, are these things that I share directly, or do I just lead by example, and that's how things kind of play out. But I
Mhm.
can hear a voice, and it is different than our own inner voice. And it's confusing to me sometimes because my ego is so strong
Yeah.
that I will trick myself to believe God told me that I did a good job, so now I can have the chocolate cake. Like,
Right.
I heard him say it. No, I'm playing, but there's sometimes where I'm not sure, and
Mhm.
I journal. I talk to him out loud for fear that he's not hearing me. Like I'm the, hey, teacher, can you hear me? Or I'll sing about it, or I'll be patient and I'll wait until I really, really get the confirmation. I'll say, Father, I believe that I heard you. And I felt what you were saying, but either I'm not confident in myself of what you're asking of me, or I'm not confident that I heard you clearly or fully understand. Can you help me? And that you don't always get the answer that you want, or right away. And so I have to use patience, and that's hard and difficult, but that's part of being faithful, isn't it? To
Mhm.
you know patiently wait with
Yeah.
faithfulness that you're gonna have some kind of direction and understanding. And he's never let me down, never,
Mhm.
not once.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
love that you said that, because that for me is what it is, being patient and waiting for an answer. And a lot of times I can see what God's will is for me when I'm already like past it. When I look
yeah,
back, I'm like, yes, I actually
yep.
did what I was supposed to do because he made it dummy proof for me. Thank
Yeah,
God, you know?
yes.
But also though, like hearing from my friends, like it's funny, like just us sharing, being together right now, you feel God's presence
Yep,
in our conversation and through each other. And I think that that happens a lot, is he speaks to us through our friends or through our
yep,
family or our support network. Sometimes I see billboards on the road and I'm like, wow, that's a message from God. Or
yeah,
sometimes when I open up the Bible and I read something, it hits my heart. And I know that that is something that he wants to implant in my heart at that time, or I'll have
yeah,
a thought in my mind, so it's so cool. The different ways that he speaks to people. I believe that God will speak to you whatever way that he can get to you, like, because he
yeah,
knows us all, right? Because we're all his children. So he
yeah.
knows what works. And I believe that he'll do it in whatever capacity he's able to get through to us.
Yes, yes, I agree. Through song, through music,
Yeah.
through movies, there are a series of events that happen around us constantly where he is reaching for us to guide us and to help us along to enter into or continue on what we were designed for here on his earth. And when we are in active addiction, we have that veil that separates us from that communication. What do you want to call him? The devil accuser, whatever you want the name. There's an opposite for my God, and he loves that. He's the opposing one. And so when we have that veil in between us, and in any addiction of pornography, anything that's going to keep you from the connection of what your purpose is, that your service that you should be focusing on, you can't hear him. And so when I say that, I led up to the time on my basement floor, and that I knew very much who he was, and I knew the story. I knew of him. I didn't know him because there had always been something, even before active addiction, that guilt, shame, things that the accuser uses to keep us separated, that was blocking us. And so in that moment, he lifted it so I could see with my own eyes, feel with my own being his presence, and know that there was something greater than myself that I needed to investigate. And I mean, that's a miracle to me. You can't, I'm not going to I'm terrified. I'm not like, after you see and feel something like that, you can't turn your back on it. It's almost impossible. So he does find different ways to communicate with you. I was not listening, and I had not embraced him, and I had not accepted it. And maybe there's some times that I can dig up and think about when I was in active addiction, where there were a lot of graces given to me.
Yeah.
And, I'm still alive. There's a lot of times that I should have been left for dead. And you don't know what it is that he was really doing for us, because I wasn't connected with him.
Right.
But I can only assume through my faith that he was with me all along. I just wasn't for him. Yeah. And I wasn't reaching for him, looking and searching the way that we just been talking about. And now that I am, my life is a miracle. It's beautiful. I'm in awe every day. I could start crying right now, but everybody's sick of seeing me be such a big crybaby. But it's because I have that much gratitude in my heart constantly. And there's no other way for me now. There's no looking back.
That's awesome. Such a beautiful story. So I want to know, how did you know that God was calling you to write the book?
Because I cannot pretend anymore. And I wrote about it, and it's funny, like I didn't even go to the depths that I walked through in my book. I gave it like I gently brushed over how adamant he was being that, okay, listen, whoever's watching this, you need to know I dropped out of high school. That's part of my story. I didn't drop out because I was stupid. I was stupid to have dropped out. So I had the ability to graduate high school. I probably, if I would have been gone on that path, would have done well in college. That's not the path I chose. I chose door B, and I went down that road. But my entire life, I've been told I was stupid, and that I couldn't do this, and I'm not good enough, and I can't achieve that. And why would you bother? Because you don't know, you'll never figure it out, over and over again. And I believed it. And so to have this idea, and that I believed was coming straight from our Father, that I should share my story, was insane to me. I was like, he's got it wrong. Like, I've even fooled God. Like, how is this possible? How have I fooled our Creator, to think that I'm capable of doing something? I couldn't wrap my head around it. I just couldn't, you guys. I couldn't, and I was not going to accept it. There was no acceptance with it, and I couldn't get through a day without 20 to 30 people, books, Joel Osteen on the radio saying, you should write a book. Every single person was saying, you should write a book. It was like a horror movie. Like, I would turn on the lights in the bathroom, and somebody would pop out of the shower and go, write a book. like, I'm not kidding. It was creepy. And I was like, I hit my knees in the floor of my bedroom, and I said, like, listen. And I, like, I'm not always getting hit my knees to pray. And I was down on I was like, I don't know how to do this. Like, ask me to do anything and I will go to any length to please you and serve you. Don't make me do this. Don't make me go and tell people that an uneducated, recovering drug addict is going to write, who doesn't even read books, is going to write a book. And that somebody's gonna, don't make me do this, please. I'm like getting choked up thinking about it because it was terrifying. And it didn't stop. I went to bed that night, cried myself to sleep, got up. The first thing I opened up to start writing my gratitude list, and it was an ad. And I think Google listens to us anyway, so it probably came from that, hearing me praying the night before. But you should write a book, find editors here. And it went on and on. And I just find, and I looked around and I go, I started asking people, like, should I just do this? And they're like, well, why not? If it sucks, throw it in the garbage can. Then you could say, I did it. I did what you told me to do. And so I started doing it and people love it. And like, it got published like by a publisher, like right away. Like, I mean, I had like 120 something no's, but it's still within a record time, like got out into the market, and it's won 3 awards. And I'm not telling you this because I like to pat myself on the back about the accolades, because that's not what I'm proud of about the process. I'm proud about the connection that is created. That's my reward, that they're not making the money from the book is going back into giving back to sober community, which is another reward. Like, I get to keep being in service. That's my reward. But it happened. And I would say, like, okay, fine. And I was so flippant with God about it. Like, just to be realistic with you guys. All right. I'd sit in my little office at church and I'm like, there's chapter 1 and 2. Guarantee you, I can't find somebody to help me with cover art. Like, I don't do graphic design. I can barely make a TikTok. You're not going to see those from me. I'll go to Sonia Dotson's page to watch those, because she's a great creator. Like, I don't know how to do that. So, and then an artist reached out to me. He's in the book. He was like, I love that. And we connected. And he was like, I'm on board. I'll do it. What do you need from me? So now I got a cover design, like painted. It's a one of a kind original, and in his interpretation. And an editor comes along and she's like, oh, you need somebody to edit your book? Oh, listen to this. It's still happening. Our Spanish community is in desperate need of hope, and they need this book. And I do not speak a lick of Spanish. I can speak, you want some Italian? I can do that all day long, like Mamma Mia, whatever. But like, I'm not bilingual. I don't speak Spanish. And so I need somebody to translate the book, and it's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And I'm like, I can't stomach that. I can't do it. And this lady walked into my office recently. She read the book. She's a parishioner at the church. Her whole entire life, she's worked for the Diocese of Charlotte, translating stuff, books, things, and from English to Spanish. She's doing it, and she's doing it as a service project. So Sober Now is not having to fund it. And now the book, maybe by summer, that's our goal. We'll see how it goes, if God allows, is going to be available to the Spanish community. Like, that is how God got me to write the book, because he kept, as I would do one thing that he asked me to do, reluctantly or flippantly or snotty face bratly. Is that adjective? Snotty face bratly. Anyway, I would do it, and then to spite him, be like, see, I told you it wouldn't work out. And then it would work out, and then more blessings would fall in my life. I'm like, so I just been going with the flow, like, really, this whole entire process. And I'm good, like, I enjoy it. Like, I have this, it was healthy for me. I thought I had processed some of the things already that I write about, and I clearly hadn't at a level I needed to. So it was cathartic and good for me, and has opened my level of compassion and connection with other people to a different level that I didn't know existed. And I enjoy having that outlet. That I said, I'm not creative in the way that maybe people are with making TikToks or design and stuff like that. But that's my gift. He revealed that my gift is in words, and maybe not just, for you and I speaking face to face, but when I write, it just flows and it comes straight from my heart. And so that's a gift that he granted me. And so I use it now. Now I use it and I do it. Well, I have a chapter that was due on the 19th and it's the 22nd. So I'm still slow at it. It's more of a, the hesitation usually is more of a, lack of self-confidence in something.
Yeah.
I struggle a lot with, am I good enough to do that? And I have to kind of go through this whole rigmarole before I'll just do it and then see what happens. But yeah, I don't know. Did that answer your question? That was really
Yes,
long.
I thought that was wonderful. And what I really love, the takeaway from everything that I've heard you share today, is that you still are human, right? And you still have your good days and your bad days. You make mistakes sometimes, but you seek God with your whole heart and you let him lead your path. And I love that you said that you go with the flow, because I feel you on that, right? The last at least year of my life, I've just been riding the waves wherever God wants to take us. That's where we're going, and he's
Yeah.
taken me to just some amazing places because of it. So I have a couple more questions for you.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, my first question, well, can you just tell everybody just real quick where all the book is out and about at right now?
Okay, well, I relaunched it. When I pulled it from the publisher, it was worldwide on, so you could get it Barnes and Noble, wherever. Right now, as I've relaunched it, sometime in March. So it hasn't been that long. God, a lot has happened since it. Wow, I just got really proud. Like a lot has happened since I've launched the book. It's only April 22nd. We just relaunched it. So right now it's on Amazon. You can get the Kindle Unlimited for free. Or you can purchase a Kindle version for $9.99. Or it's on sale. I think it's on sale for $12.95 right now on Amazon. Or you can contact me through Sober Now. I will sign a copy and I will mail it to you. Free shipping. Or you can go through my link tree and you can find a link there to purchase them as well. So that's how far we've gotten.
That's
I'm in the
awesome.
process of getting it back on with Ingram. It was going like hotcakes, like in Germany, South Africa, Italy. It was in France. So I know that there's a need for it in those markets. I just have to actually do the piece to get it back on with them. So it's in there in my mix of things to do. I need some help. Does anybody want to come and work for Sober Now? I need like 6 more hands to make this stuff up. No, but so right now the best place to get it is by contacting me or going to Amazon. I prefer Amazon because the other ship is straight to you and I don't have to worry about shipping.
Yeah.
But if you want a signed copy or a special message, I can do that. And then soon, especially with the Spanish version coming up, we'll have it where you can go to Barnes and Noble and you should be starting to see it again in bookstores near you. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much. So this is my question for you. There might be somebody out there right now who has just hit their rock bottom, or they're just lost. Maybe they're not even in addiction. Maybe they are, but maybe they're just lost and they don't know how to connect with God. What would you say to that person?
So they're wanting to connect with God. They just don't know how. The best advice that I can give you, if you're sitting out there and you are trying to connect with God and you're in that place of desperation that I just shared with you, that I too have been through. First, before I give you any advice or suggestions, let me tell you, I love you and you are not alone. And I mean that. And when I say I love you and I don't even know you, I know you. We all know each other. Listen, look into my eyes right now and hear me. You are loved and you do have a purpose and you are drawn to this moment right here with Sonia and I, where you could be told that because God is already waiting for you to come. All you have to do is say out loud in your mind, writing down however feels most comfortable and personal for you. God, I want to get to know you better. I don't know what I'm doing. I need your help. Can you give me a sign? come into my heart. I make you my savior. I make you the one that I go to. Show me how to go to you when I need you. Show me how to please you. He will reveal to you. I promise you. I don't make empty promises. It's that simple. Just ask him, show me the way. He'll lead you. And until that moment comes that you feel brave enough to have that conversation and do that, always know that you can come and connect with either Sonia on her page or me at Sober Now, and you will get the love and support. We will help you through it, and we will love you and bring you inspiration until you can get strong enough on your own to do that. And once you do, I can't wait to celebrate with you. It's beautiful.
Yes. Thank you so much. That's the best answer I've ever heard of that. I ask people that every video at the end, like, what would you say to that person? And that is the best answer that I've heard. Please do exactly what she just suggested for you guys to do. So I am going to link all of her stuff below. I'll link the link to Amazon. I'm going to link her pages. So you guys definitely need to go follow her, go get a copy of the book. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you back again soon.